Welcome and thank you for joining us today.
We're Derps and Burps, the podcast for all gamers, spiritual souls, and creative minds out there.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our 34th episode of Derps and Burps. It is your lovely hosts, Stefie. Oh my god, wrong direction.
Hello there.
And Julia. I kind of messed up the sides. My bad. Swear I'm not drunk. Welcome back, guys. In case you're wondering, today's episode, we tried something a little bit different because first of all, we recorded 2 episodes today already. So the episode from last week was recorded at the same day as this because Steffi is traveling. So we're preparing some content ahead of time, so you don't have to miss us for a week. Okay, that's how dedicated we are to you.
Yes.
So that's why there's gonna be no news part in this episode. I hope you forgive us, but in return, we have a really cool listener of the week that will be a little bit of a talking topic first, because it's a really interesting topic to talk about, I think, personally. And the main topic of this episode is gonna be a viral Reddit divorce story that we found online that we thought was so interesting that we wanted to share it with you, talk a little bit about our point of views on the story, and also hear your feedback, how you see that. Because I already think that Steffi and me are gonna have a really opposite way of thinking in the story.
Yeah.
Like we both read it already, but I think we're gonna be in this one going pretty apart. So I think that's the thing that's gonna be really interesting. And second, we thought we already got like the cool comment like 2 episodes ago from M that was talking about his relationship before, right? And I personally really enjoyed that, talking a little bit about those kind of issues and looking at potential relationship issues from different point of views, you know? Like it's not only, I think, interesting for you potentially to hear about it, but also for me, because I know that Steffi, for example, has a completely different way of looking at that kind of things than I have. So yeah, we're gonna read this one, and for future references, if you have any stories of yourself that you want to share with us, feel free to slide into our DMs on Twitter, on Instagram, on our telonym if you want to do it completely anonymous. On the other hand, if you are somebody that spends a lot of time on Reddit and maybe you're browsing and you're, you know, late at night reading a really cool story that you would like us to react to and give you our input to what we think about it, also feel free to submit those ones. You can also do that Twitter, Instagram, wherever you feel most comfortable doing it. And yeah, I think we're gonna dive into it. Steffi, do you want to read out the listener of the week to start off with the whole topic today?
Yeah. Just a short question. Which episode was that on? Which episode do you remember?
That was the episode after the panic years, was it? I'm actually not sure. Was it? I think the relationship message. It was 32.
Okay.
I think it was in episode 32.
Episode 32, Unlocked LP commented or said, usually like Steffi, where it's like, okay, when the relationship is over, it's over. But I gotta admit that I also have this one person popping up in my mind on a daily basis for years now, where I seem to just really cannot get over this human being. It was toxic as fuck too, you know, with the highs and lows you mentioned in the podcast. It really saddens me on some days so much that it ruins whole days for me. How do you personally deal with that, Julia? And how have you been dealing with it for the last years? Nice episode again, by the way.
Thank you so much, Unlocked, for your comment. First of all, really appreciate it. And for the people that don't know what this episode is about, we're gonna do a little like recap, or if you want, you can go back and listen to our episode 32, which was the empty social battery / relationship message that we just talked about that M sent us 2 weeks ago. I think it was, right? Or 3 episodes ago at this point, actually. Now that I think about it. And yeah, basically we were talking about how Steffi, when a relationship for her is over, it's over and she doesn't really care about that person anymore. Like for her, she closes the door and she moves on and she just doesn't care or doesn't have feelings about this person anymore. And I said, from my personal point, is most of it, or it's with almost everybody the same for me. But one relationship that I had, that was with for a long, long time. I was with that person for 7.5 years or something like that. As Unlocked said, it was similar, like his relationship, that it was a toxic relationship that had a lot of lows but also a lot of highs. And for me, it was like, the chase when you're at the low to get back to a peak. So almost like an addict, chasing those good moments with that person and always believing that you can go back to having the good times. Anyway, in this episode, I was saying how even though I intellectually know that relationship was unhealthy and not a very good one, it's still that this person till this day, and I'm not with this person for almost 9 years anymore, still pops up in my head very, very often. Like I still have to think about him often. I still have to think about the relationship. There's often certain triggers that maybe bring up like memories or whatever. So and Unlocked said he can relate to that he has not been in a relationship with a certain person for a long time anymore, but that person just keeps popping up in your head. How do I deal with it personally? So first of all, one thing that I really had to learn, for me, the feelings are completely like separated now. Like before, it was like really emotional as well. Like in the beginning, I felt really guilty as well, because I'm obviously like in a new relationship for how long am I with Nathan now? 8.5 years. Yeah, eight and a half years. So obviously being in a relationship for 8.5 years and having your ex-boyfriend popping up in your head, not in a sense of like, oh, I want to be back in this relationship, but just him popping up in my head for no apparent reason, or if just something reminds you of that person. So in the beginning, I felt actually really, really guilty, and I didn't really tell, or I wouldn't publicly talk about it that much until I think it was like a year ago or something, when I brought it up the first time in therapy. And I think I told it to Stefie as well at some point some time ago, that just keeps popping up in my head. So in the beginning, it was a lot of guilt for me personally. And I same as you, I didn't really know how to handle it, because for me, it was the same. Like it was either, it could be both. It could be either showing me how lucky I am to be in a healthy relationship now, like a real like adult relationship without any toxicity or bullshit, or this kid stuff with, or not kid stuff, but this immature stuff of not being able to talk about things, and just holding on grudges, or not being able to talk about things that are on your mind. So it can be both for me. It can make me feel really grateful about what I have. But obviously, as I said, there was like low lows and high highs. There's also obviously good times that I have to think about sometimes, or I don't know, certain hobbies that we had together, or whatever it is. And I felt really guilty about those things in the beginning. And I also can relate to the things that you say. Sometimes it saddens you, because that certain relationships, because the highs would have had like a really high potential. So I personally was thinking often about why it didn't work out, because you had those high highs, right? But why couldn't it be those highs every single day, if that makes sense, right? So personally, I learned to separate my emotional and my intellectual thinking about this relationship. So what I did, I kind of dissected the relationship as well. Like for me and for most people, if you think about something that is in the past, it's kind of like social media, like we had last week. You have this highlight reel in your head, right? As a human, you tend to remember mostly good moments or extremely bad moments, right? Like you don't really remember the casual times in between, those flat lines where nothing like special happened or whatsoever. So for me, what I did, I opened often my old messages that I had in that relationship. Like I read through the old WhatsApp messages. I read through, like, even if it's just 5 minutes, because I literally had to scroll for 5 minutes and I was, oh my God, this is such fucking kids bullshit. I would not be bothered. I could not bother to have discussions or being left unread with anybody at this point of my life. Like I'm not, I have way too much I value myself way too high to be treated by anybody like this, and especially nobody that is supposed to be your partner, right? That should be an equal to you. So that helped me a lot. I don't know if it's the same for you, that I just read through the daily messages and realized how disrespectful it actually was, and that it was not just the beautiful times or the highs that you had with each other. And then, to be honest, when it comes to emotional part, like obviously, like you cannot manipulate yourself in just saying that you don't have certain feelings for a certain person anymore, right? So I tried to keep in mind how the real daily life was in this relationship. I tried to accept that I still have romantic feelings for that past version back in the day, right? And that I appreciate and I accept that I have those nice times. But I also intellectually know that I would never want to be in that relationship again. Like it would just not work out. So I just try to separate those two and get myself into reality, if that makes sense, and also appreciate what I have and how much happier I am, how much self-esteem I have, and stuff. And obviously therapy, like as I said, like I was thinking a lot before I really talked about that in therapy as well. Like, why is this person popping up? Is it because I didn't really close the chapter? Is it because I need to go back, and not back in the sense to go back into the relationship, sorry, but do I need to go back and have a conversation with that person to work through, hey, that's what our relationship was like, why did that happen, why did you treat me like this, to get all of those questions answered, right? Like I thought in my mind, if I would go there, talk to him, and get all the answers that I want, under quotations marks, that I would probably not even get, right? Because it's just a fact, you don't get the answers that you want. And then I would feel better. And I was talking about that with my therapist, and I was like, should I do that? And if I do that, should I tell my current boyfriend that I am planning to do that? Should I ask him for permission? Do I have to ask him for permission? Because, it's not cheating to talk to your ex-boyfriend. It's not cheating, but like obviously it could emotionally hurt your new partner, that you're thinking about the ex-partner and you want some kind of closure for a relationship. Like, I can like bring up questions in your other person, in your new person as well. That's why I never really did anything about like contacting my ex or anything. And my therapist actually told me that most likely, like I could do it, but she said most likely it would not help. It would basically just make it worse, or would even just frustrate you more, because in your head you will get all those questions answered that you never got answered, but in reality, you won't get exactly those things that you want. And that can just make it worse. And she just told me to acknowledge the feelings and work through it, and think realistically about how it was, and to be grateful for where I'm now. And it is, I have to say, ever since I acknowledged it like this, it got less, like way less, for sure. I don't know if I will ever completely stop that he pops up in my mind, but for me it's more like I'm thankful for the lessons I learned in that relationship. I'm thankful for the good times that I had in that relationship. I'm thankful for myself, that I evolved and got way more value in myself, that I would never put myself in a position to be in such a toxic relationship. So that's the way that I look at it. I look at it as a measurement of how much I grew as a person from like how I was when I was in this relationship, like how vulnerable and lost, and how I don't even know, like how helpless I was, like how
Mm-hmm.
little self-esteem I had. So for me, it's more or less a good reminder of showing how, or seeing how far I got, I would say. But it's obviously like, I totally get that. Like, I think you should not try to ignore it or feel guilty or something. Like, I would just feel the feelings when the feelings are coming up, but also do the same. Look at how far you've gone and be realistic about, you know, how miserable you would probably be, and that it's not worth of having like a high once a month for having like 30 other days in that month where you feel like shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I handle it. But however it's gonna go for you, Unlocked, I'm proud of you. For first of all sharing. Thank you. For showing that there's other people out there that have the same. And yeah, it was also not easy, honestly, for me to share that, because I have obviously not been in contact with that person ever since we broke up. And for
And
me, yeah.
sorry, I have a question.
Yeah, of course.
Have you seen him since then?
I saw him once, I think, at a funeral. That was like,
Mm-hmm.
I think 2 or 3 years after we broke up. A friend of us died, and we saw each other at the funeral, and he was actually there with his new girlfriend.
Oh,
And
you told me that, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that was a little bit awkward, especially for
Mm-hmm.
me. I felt so bad because at this point, at when he saw me, I was like in a very bad place in my life where
Mm-hmm.
I also gained a lot of weight. So I was like the classic, like, oh no, he hasn't seen me in 3 years, and now he sees me, and I got fat
Yeah.
and ugly, and so for me, I felt super bad because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my god, he's gonna be so happy that he's not with me anymore. And I didn't really talk that much without him, but I have to really give him credit for that. I didn't really talk to him much, but I was kind of alone at the funeral because he and his new girlfriend was with a group of people that we were
Mm-hmm.
friends back then. Because
Mm-hmm.
basically, what happened after our breakup, I was friends with most of his friends, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. And after a breakup, it was this awkward thing, like it's his group of
Yeah.
friends, so I'm the one
Yeah.
that has to walk away from a lot of people. So I'm not blaming anybody, obviously, because I think it's a natural thing, but
Mm.
obviously to be respectful towards his new girlfriend. I don't even know if they're still together. His
Mhm.
back then girlfriend. Um I obviously didn't like go there and act like normal, and as I said, I felt really bad because I gained a
Mm.
lot of weight at this point as well. So I was like, oh no, please don't even look at me. And as I said, it was a funeral, and I was sitting there crying alone like crazy because it was a really good friend of us that died.
Mm.
And he actually came to me then and gave me a pack of tissues and like put his arm around my shoulder and said it's fine. So I have to give him really big credit for that, for doing that at
Mhm.
the funeral. But we didn't really like talk because it was like in
Mm.
a church and everything. So it was like,
Yeah.
this weird thing. And I didn't talk to him afterwards or anything. So that was the only interaction we had after the breakup. And I think it's from how I remember him and how I think his values are. If he has a new girlfriend, like I think he would not be in contact with me. The same for me. While I'm with
Yeah.
Nathan, I would not reach out to have any contact with him as well, just out of respect for our new partners, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we haven't really been in contact. For me, the thing is always like, I know that I talk about him a lot,
Mhm.
and I'm always wondering if he knows that. Like, I have no idea. Like, I have to say, like, he's not really a big social media person. Like, he never
Mhm.
really had any social media, or I mean, he had it, but he didn't really use it. So I doubt that he will follow or listen to anything that I say or necessarily know that I'm talking about him.
Mhm.
But I'm guessing that there's a lot of people that know me, and maybe friends of his that still know me back when we were together and I was
Yeah.
maybe friends with, that listen or see pieces of my content where I talk about that or him, and then maybe go to him and be like, oh, do you know that Julia is still talking about you? You know what I mean? So I also don't want to paint like a really bad picture about of him, because obviously that all happened like 8 years ago, if that makes sense. So the person and the relationship that I'm talking about is like has happened 8 years ago. So obviously I have no idea where as a human being he is right now. So maybe he learned a lot out of this relationship, the same as me, and is a better person, hopefully, for his partner, if he has a partner right now, at this moment. And I believe that he can do this. So I also just want to say, if he ever hears that I wish him the very best, and that I appreciate the times that we had together. But yeah, like I also just don't want to talk, bad about him, because again, like people always can change, and we were really young. Like when we got together, we were 16. We were together from 16 till I was like 23 or something like that. So it's like, a long time. So there's that. Any more questions, Stefo?
No. Thank you for answering all my questions.
You're welcome. Sorry, I didn't even let Stefie talk that much today. I think
that was your opinion. That was your opinion on that. That's totally fine. We talked about that a lot in private already. So
True. So anyway, if you're listening to this, I still have a lot of respect for you, even though everything that happened between us in the past. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're in a great relationship, and thank you for the beautiful time that we had. Not everything was shit, even though you could have been etiquette every now and then. Most of the time. No. But moving on to today's episode. We found a video, or we found a Reddit thread about a divorce story that, as I already said before, I think is really interesting, because I think Steffi and me gonna have really opposite opinions, potentially. I don't know, just guessing. To this. Like, we listened to it together, but we didn't really share much of what we thought about, because I think we wanted to keep it for the episode. Also, I'm sorry, I have to put a cough bonbon in my mouth, because I have the in my throat. Do it. So what we're gonna do is, if you want to read the whole Reddit thread, we're gonna put the link of it in the description on our YouTube story, on our YouTube information box, whatever it's called, description. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I'm a boomer. I don't know how that stuff is called. If you want to read it yourself, Steffi is gonna read it out. We're gonna do some pauses here and there whenever we wanna talk about it. So yeah, Steffi, do you wanna start reading a story?
Yes, okay, yes, let's get into this. First thing, I want to that's what she said, that's the title. I want a divorce after 9 months marriage, but people in my surroundings seem to find this odd and immature. I don't know if ages are required or relevant here, but I'm 29, husband is 29, his colleague is 36, her husband is 34. That's the scenario. My husband and I have been together for 4 years. I love him very much. Even now that I want a divorce, I still love him. I found out about 3 months ago about his colleague when I visited his office, and she was there. Apparently, they have been working together for 5 years, and they're very good friends, and yet I never heard about her until I saw her. Something didn't feel right at all. That's crazy, like, from stepping into this room, seeing this person, getting this feeling, right?
Yeah.
Like, how? It's,
but
you know what I mean?
You know that. Like, I don't know.
I know that.
I have the same. And I have to say, if you're together for 4 years, and I mean, I don't know if it's the same for you, but you know those work boyfriends or something? Did you ever have one of those? Work boyfriends, work husbands, work... You don't know that? Okay.
No,
so
not
basically,
really.
There's a thing. It's called work husbands and work wives. So whenever you work like in an office or wherever with like multiple people, and you see them every single day, like I had one of those. For example, when I worked in my old jobs, there's most of the time that you get along with one person very well. And sometimes, you get cheeky, you flirt a little bit, you know what I mean?
I'm a very flirty bitch, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. And then that is like, and same as on stream, you know, when you like joke around, like that's your duo mate, you know, that's like your buddy, you know what I mean? It's like your e-boy boyfriend or whatever you want to call it. And that is, for example, something I had at work as well in my old job.
Okay.
I had a guy
With
that
someone
was,
like you had that, or
yeah, in the sense of like a work boyfriend. Please comment if anybody of you has the same at work, that you just have a friend of the sex that you're interested in, that you just get along really well. You sometimes flirt as well, but there's nothing happening. You know, you just like you spend 8 hours a day in the same office. Like he was sitting next to me and we just had fun and drank coffee in our breaks together. You know what I mean? We just got along well. That was it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I have to say that back then when I was with my boyfriend, he knew that I had a really good relationship, a friendship with that person. But I also have to say that I didn't take that home. Like I didn't text with him, my so-called work boyfriend, when I got home. But I really have to say, it's really sus if you are 4 years with your boyfriend, he's working somewhere for 5 years, and he forgot to tell you that he has a friend at work of the opposite sex when he's interested into women, that he forgets to tell you about that. You know what I mean?
Gotta say, Max at least knows about my e-boys.
Exactly.
So I'm being honest with it, at least.
Same. Like Nathan plays with all of my e-boys as well.
Yeah.
It's fine. You know, the thing that's sus to me so far is
he didn't say
why
anything.
have you never talked about that person?
Yes.
Because at least when you're coming home from work, you spill the tea, you say who's annoying at work, who's supportive at work, and if that person has never been mentioned before, red flag. I need like sus. You know what we need to do? If this is gonna become
we need a red flag.
A topic, we need a little red flag, yes. So we need to wave it whenever there's something like
that's happening. A good idea.
Okay, so
hold up.
Do you have one? Oh my gosh, Stefie might have a red.
Something.
I have a bottle of ketchup.
That's what Ben and I did with my clothing, right? So I have a yay. Hold up. I have a yay and I have a nay. So I'll keep that for this episode.
Okay, I keep my red ketchup bottle. That is my red flag. Okay, so there we go. Right. We have a red flag right there. Okay, moving on. Never heard of the girl he worked with for 5 years. Okay, interesting. Yes. Moving on.
Now I was paying more attention to his texting habits, and yes, he does text her almost every evening and a few times a day in weekends or when he's working from home or on vacation. So I gotta say,
no, that's fine. That's fine.
The fact that he never mentioned her is fucking sus. Yes, this is where this comes up. But I have these people as well.
No, I think the texting is fine. To be honest.
Yeah, but the fact that he never mentioned her.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, the context is not fine. Like if you're keeping it a secret or doing it secretly, that is the thing that makes it weird, right? Because obviously it's fine to have different gender or same gender or the gender that you're interested in romantically. It is fine to have friends. Wait, you can extend those?
Of course I can.
Wow, it's a grower, not a shower. Huh? Okay. No, but on a serious note, I think it's healthy and normal to have friends from the opposite gender or whatever gender you're interested in as well. Like if you have a good relationship, there should be enough trust that you're able to have friends like this. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna throw something in that makes Fudge very happy and proud, because whenever like I'm on the phone talking to someone or doing something on the PC, on the PC or whatever I do, it's always like, because whenever he asked me in the beginning, he's like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "I'm talking to Fudge." And he's always like, "Oh, this man got time all the time. Doesn't he work or anything?" Now it's like whenever, because Fudge and I are in calls like very often, and we do a lot together, right? So he's always like, "Are you talking to Fudge again?" And he's always like, "Okay, never mind. I gave up asking because I know it's always." So yeah, he
So
knows, you know.
Fudge is your work boyfriend.
Yeah,
Kind of.
actually.
There we go.
Actually.
Okay. Let's
Shall we
see
go
how
on?
the story goes. Yeah, so see where
Yes.
it goes.
Weekends, home or on vacation. I asked him why I never heard about this good friend of his, and he said we rarely talked about work since I never understood his field.
Can I just say something? Good point of her. Communication. She's not assuming. She is asking. Okay?
Yes.
Just want to
And
point this out.
even though you do not understand a lot about your partner's work field, you can still talk about the colleagues, right? Because I didn't really understand what Max was doing at work as well, either. But I knew stories about his work colleagues. Or same now. I gotta say, Max has a whole harem at his university. He has all the queens in his friend circle, and I'm like, okay, potential threats can be potential IRL threats because they're all hot and cute and super nice. I think most of them IRL, and he's talking about them. He even went out with one of the girls, but like she has a boyfriend. But one of his study colleagues, she invited him and a few friends over to party. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. So, you know, like we still know each other's friends, like no matter of if they're from work or from your uni or whatever and what they do, because he keeps telling me, and so we're fine. Even though even my boss said, because they visited us together at the Iron Road for Children event where we were working. Max drove there with one of the girls from his uni. She's super cute. And even my boss said, Stefie, this is a potential threat. I was like, God, I know, but I have trust.
That's good.
So yeah.
Okay, but
okay,
again,
let's go on.
we have to give her credit. She's communicating. Okay, so check mark on her side. Good communication. Moving on.
Yes. I hate playing games, so I told him it was still odd that I've never heard about someone who he is on a daily sorry guys. Again, cut. I hate playing games, so I told him it was still odd that I've never heard about someone who he is on daily contact with. He gave me his phone and said that they haven't been on daily contact constantly, but it came in waves when she's having troubles at home. I read their conversations, and it's a lot of joking around. Your dick is so big. calling each other cute names. Her complaining about her sex life, jokingly, obviously. Her asking intimate questions about me. Her asking if I threw a good birthday party to him. Okay, his birthday was on June 14th. This text stuck with me because he was texting her at the party and she answered, "You must be bored at your own party or you wouldn't be texting me instead of being with her." Like with
toxic. That's her being super toxic towards the wife though.
Yeah.
I mean, as you say, like, it's fine. Conversations are just joking around. Her complaining about her sex life jokingly. I mean, that's fine. Cute names, I don't know. Do you... Okay, Steffi, do you call Fudge cute names here and there?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that in a funny context, that's fine. But that thing about like the story, the party must be boring. That's a kind of... It's like, you know, those side like elbows towards the wife. That's a little bit, you know.
Also, I gotta say, if they were friends and it was his birthday party, right? I mean, was it a surprise party?
Why is she not there?
Yes. Why wasn't she invited if she was such a good friend of his?
I mean, clearly because the wife didn't know that they were friends. But as you said, like he would invite her if she would be a close friend like that, right?
Yeah.
Like I would invite somebody that I'm texting with on a daily, to my birthday party, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if it's such a close friend of mine. But yeah. Are you searching right now if you called the Fudgy
No. That was the very first message. I'm searching this right now because it was on Twitter and I loved it. Because I don't know, it was a conversation when we were playing together, Julia. Like we played either Overwatch or Valorant together with Em and Fudge, I think. And that was the first time we like spoke. And then we just talked about something like British people calling girls baby girl and shit like that, right? Or that's cringe or something. And then I got a DM from Fudgy. That was the very first DM where he sent me a picture of slide into your DMs like what up baby girl. And then
oh, smooth.
This one, you know.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's how it started.
Smooth Fudge, smooth. Good one though. Good opener.
Smooth as always. Yeah.
I give that one. That's a yay. Okay. Moving on.
Yes. Let me see where we are here.
Sorry,
I told
we're
him
like
that I
pause champing the story the whole time. Sorry.
Can you always put your cursor where we like next thing?
Yes, I will.
So
I will.
Because I'm Pepega. Okay.
Yeah.
I told him that I didn't find this back and forth texting appropriate, and I considered it flirty. He was taken aback, but said he would stop if it bothered me so much.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good. At least he is he's understanding, you know. He's like, okay, it bothers you. I take a step back. That's fine. Okay. Let's see where this goes.
Days. All right.
Let's see where this goes.
Go. A month
would
later.
You do that? Sorry to interrupt you. Would you do that if Max tells you that it bothers him that you should stop texting much?
That's a tough question. I think we wouldn't be in this situation because Max is accepting his fate. Nah. But how to say, like, it's a tough question though. I mean,
depending on the context, I guess, right? If there's any like reason, I mean,
if he was just if he was just jealous, then I would say no, shut up, it's my friend.
Like without a reason, you mean jealous without a reason?
Yeah, just because he's possessive and everything. I don't like possessive people at all. Like if you corner me, I'm a run. But obviously there's some lines that shouldn't be crossed, and if my partner tells me those lines, I will happily acknowledge them. Let's see if I don't cross them. Nah, it's
acknowledge them and see if I don't cross them.
So how to say? It depends. If my relationship is on the verge of that, I would probably, no matter which person it was I was texting with, and if there's a very big reason to stop and I want to save my relationship, yes.
Okay.
If I love the person still as much as I do. Because otherwise the relationship is over anyways, right? If you
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
For sure.
What about you? I mean, you have the complete opposite opinion.
I have the opposite, yeah. To be honest, I'm not texting with anybody in private. Like I have like the stream group, you know. But I don't have like my personal e-boy that I text back and forth with right now.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. Right now.
If Nathan would let's say if I would have somebody that I would be like actively in contact every single day, I would maybe be, I don't know, jokingly flirty about like, oh, when are you gonna carry me again, e-boy, you know, like something like that. And that would bother Nathan if he would tell me like, hey, this is annoying me, I don't like this, blah blah blah. If I would give him reason enough to be jealous, I would probably stop it. If I like the way that I see it, if he would do the same in return with the girl, like I always try to look at like this. If that would be a conversation that Nathan would be having with a girl, would it bother me? Can I relate? Yes, I would stop. If it's something along the lines that's just like a completely friendly, funny relationship, and I don't see any reason that it's causing any like jealousy, no, because like we're both allowed to have friendships. Obviously, if I overstep boundaries, yes, I would definitely stop. But I don't know if I would overstep any, to be honest. So as you say, like I think once you start overstepping certain boundaries, that is probably when your relationship is already crumbling.
Yeah.
And you're trying to search for something at a different person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think, personally. Or maybe you're not happy or whatever. But yeah, moving on.
Mm-hmm. A month later, it has started gradually again, and I showed him that I wasn't happy about it. This time, he came home with her to let her reassure me that nothing is happening between them.
Yeah, let me just bring her home. Good idea. Oh, jeez.
She was very ironic and disrespectful. This is the part I really don't like because that just proves me that she was right with her guts.
I agree.
All right. We're here. She was very ironic and disrespectful, according to me. That's her sense of humor, according to him.
According to the yeah. According to the
She was
husband.
smirking. Yeah. She was smirking and basically telling me that if I had low self-esteem and felt threatened by their relationship, it wasn't her fault. Bro, she never even knew about her. Like if her husband never talked about her, how so fucking retarded.
But to be honest, that would be also something that I could imagine you telling somebody if you were writing with their friend.
Me?
Yeah. Let's say Fudge has a girlfriend and that would happen. You would tell her as well, lady, fucking chill. If you're so fucking insecure in yourself.
True. First of all, I approve the girlfriends. That's the first thing, because if she can't, that's the thing, right?
Yeah,
if you have friendships like that, your partner honestly must have high self-esteem and must be very, very confident within themselves. So, and I understand the other side as well, because I know, for example, Fudge is would probably
Sorry
be
that I
different.
always bring Fudge, but you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just as an example.
Yeah, and we're very close, so that's just obvious. And I can be possessive in some ways, but I can also share depending on where, right? So I understand if people feel threatened by outside friends, but on the other hand, I don't, because if you're stable in your relationship, and no matter how strong the friendship is emotionally, it should still not like bother you, or you shouldn't be afraid, to lose this person to this other person.
I get that. I think in that context in specific though, I do understand her
yes
being
totally
not threatened is maybe the wrong word, but being unsure, not really,
unsure.
but being unsure about what that is. And especially if he brings her home, I get it. It's maybe, it's maybe a man thing that they don't think that far, maybe it's even like the coworker was like, what's a good idea? I should come to your place and I should have a chat with your girlfriend and assure her that there's absolutely nothing happened. And he's like, oh yeah, I think that's a really good idea, without really thinking about it. But obviously, shitty fucking idea. Especially also, if she's disrespectful, ironic, and smirks and says something like you have low self-esteem or what. Like, who is she to have the fucking nerve to walk into my home, tell me that I'm insecure? Like, what the hell? I would have fucking
after him never mentioning her, and that is the main part context. Here for me.
Exactly. Yes. That's the why is she being kept a secret, right? And then
that's the thing. Just at least talk about your friendships you have. There's no problem with having friend or platonic friendships or whatever you want to call it.
Of course, but there must be something. So she's being brutal, savage. Don't like her. I don't like the coworker so far. Let's move on.
Probably jealous as well because she has him. When she left,
obsessed about him probably.
Yeah. When she left, I told my husband that I never wanted to see or hear anything from or about her anymore, and that if he would rather have her as a friend than me as a wife, that he should say so. They stopped texting.
Good. She's setting up boundaries. She clearly pulled a line for him to not overstep. She told him he has to make a choice. I think that's okay in that context.
Yeah. We had a 3 weeks vacation and we spent it in Santorini. She probably texted 2 to 3 times a day. He answered her at the
And
end of the
they?
day. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
He, he answered her at the end of the day when I was in the shower or something. When I asked him
He's fucking dodgy
why,
as fuck,
he
man.
said she had marriage problems. Oh my god, my coworker has problems with her husband right now. I totally need to help her while having my dick
I
in my
really
hand.
need to be her support buddy here.
Yeah.
Ay,
I
ay, ay.
asked him if he was a marriage counselor on top of his career, and he just laughed it off.
Good one, though. Actually, good one. Brutal fucking savage wife. The wife,
Oh,
that's where you can tell that she's getting fed up. That is,
yeah,
so she's like, "You a fucking marriage counselor?" Okay, I like her. I
yeah.
like her.
Oh my god. When we came back from home,
We came back
from
home.
Santorini, when we came back, sorry guys, when we came back home from Santorini, we still had 1 week of vacation left. We went for a dinner and movie. She asked if we went. Oh, what is top? Okay, sorry. My brain today. We went for a dinner and a movie. She probably knew because she was at the same restaurant later.
Coincidence, huh?
We exchanged hellos and she asked if we wanted to join them. Why would you? I said yes.
Okay,
She
first
said,
of all, there's no way in hell that while being on vacation, coming home, you go out for dinner, that she's just by accident, coincidence, in the same fucking restaurant. Okay, so she said yes.
do you really think he's that dumb to just like, when she texted him, "Oh, what's your plan today with your wife?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're going out for dinner. It's still our last week of vacation." Like,
Those
you
are
know what I
men,
mean?
Steffi.
Yeah,
They're a
that's what I mean. Do you
man.
think, or do you think he thought any further? Like he wanted her to come. You know what I mean?
How it sounds for me is that he probably enjoys the attention that he gets
Mm-hmm.
from his coworker, and I
Mm-hmm.
think to a certain degree that he really just wants to be there for her as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he does everything in secret, texts her back when she's in the shower, and
Yep.
resumes texting after she asked him clearly put down boundaries, I think there must be something more. Because like if she's really just a friend and your wife is telling me or her, you choose, this is you pick your poison, and then he does it, that is just, I mean, with the restaurant he's just probably being stupid, and the coworker is also
I think so too.
it's just a stupid man thing that he didn't think further. He was like, "Oh yeah, we're going to fucking Nando's today." Oh cool, yeah, right. Oh, we're going too. What a coincidence. Hi. Oh, hi there. No,
definitely.
but so I don't think that he really thought that, but I also think the way it sounds that the coworker is super manipulative. Like she seems to be a really manipulative, toxic person so far.
Yeah.
Okay. So
all right, we said yes, guys. She was very pleasant and asked about our vacation, touching my husband in a friendly way.
Oh my god. I would have. That's where I lose my shit. That's where the ashtrays start flying for me. If you touch my boyfriend in a friendly way, oh hell no. I can just. She probably put her fucking hand on like his thigh or something, like, or like on the arm or something.
Shoulder, like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
I then asked how it was with them because I've heard from my husband that they were having marriage problems.
Oh my god, yes, she's shooting back. Let's go.
That is a fucking savage move.
Yeah, that's good.
All three froze.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband asked, "What? Who said that?" And I answered that it was my husband who told me. My husband tried to explain with some dumb excuses. And I said, but you showed me the texts she said every day about her having problems, but that I was sorry if I got the wrong idea. She looked very angry at my husband. Bro.
Dude, that is instant karma for the coworker. 100%. This is where you can see the wife is fed up. You kept on texting. This is what you got. You put me in a stupid position. I'm gonna put you in a fucking stupid position. This is your time. This is the time where the husband should have realized, okay, this is it. I'm walking away. This is... you have two dangerous women. You know, this is when
Yeah.
you notice you have two
Yeah.
toxic bitches. They're gonna fucking destroy each other if you don't walk away from one of them. This is where you should have started taking notes.
But to
Holy
be
shit.
fair, I think that was the day where the coworker's husband started questioning a lot of things as well.
Oh yeah.
And in the
Imagine
end,
being his her husband. Imagine being your
yeah,
coworker's husband. I mean,
yeah,
that must
yeah.
be fucked up.
He didn't know shit about anything.
True,
So
actually.
he's
That would
like,
be
what
cool
who are
to
even
it would
who
be
are
really
even
cool
those
to
people?
hear his
Point
point
of
of view
view,
of the
yeah.
story. Yeah, that would be really
'Cause
cool actually.
to be honest, even after we finish this, I think neither of those are together anymore, and the coworker and the husband of the
I hope
Reddit lady
not. I hope
are
not.
together now. You know what I mean? So both marriages broke, and those two people are together now. That's what I think.
I'm gonna
Anyways,
I can do some research actually and check.
okay, I
You
go on.
continue. Yeah.
When we got home, he told me that I was out of line. I had enough by then. I asked him if they have slept together, and he said only once before he even met me.
Oh, before. Okay. Oh yeah, I just
Yeah.
that just makes it so much worse. You keeping being friends and texting with your coworker that you banked before. Like, dude, oh my god, holy moly.
I told him that I wanted a divorce because I'm thinking they're having an affair, at least an emotional one. He denied it and called me silly wanting a divorce over texts with a friend. Hmm.
Okay.
That's a tough one.
I mean,
'Cause uh, uh,
calling her still like I mean, of course, this is being manipulative in my opinion because like is it a silly thing to want a divorce because texting over texting with a friend? I mean, this is not about texting with a friend. This is about
yeah,
you set boundaries for your boyfriend or your husband. How much? Two times? Three times? That you
three
do
times
not
by
want
now, I
them
think.
to have contact anymore because they've overstepped boundaries, and he chose more than once to
Yeah.
step over that line again. And what that says for me personally is that I cannot trust him. I cannot trust
Mm,
his word. If he tells me that he won't be texting with that person anymore and he still does it, how do I trust him when he tells me he doesn't have anything physical with her? You know what I
mm.
mean? Like
Only
where
once.
it was only once exactly.
It was
No, but
only once.
you know what I mean? Like it's here. It's not about just this simple texting. Here, it's about the trust in a relationship. Like
Mm,
how do you trust if you can he can keep his fucking word? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Also, by then, I don't understand why he like you can talk about everything, right? Or you should be able to talk about everything, and why I think he should have been honest still, no matter how he felt about her, like his coworker.
yeah,
He should have at least he owes her the truth. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
even if you are emotionally connected to this person, it doesn't have to mean that y- you love this person and want together with this person, but in this case it's like just be honest and say it. You slept together,
Exactly.
you never mentioned her before, you
Because like
kept her complete secret.
it could be that he kept her secret because he knew that he slept with her before, so he thought, you know, you can all phrase that. You could be like,
Mm,
hey, okay, the reason I kept her secret is before I met you I had a sexual relationship with that person and
yeah.
now we're just friends, and I didn't want you to worry about it. You know, if you
Mm,
communicate that, that's fine. But like
yeah.
again, like you it is a stupid thing that your wife has to tell you to not be in contact with somebody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like in a
Yeah.
healthy relationship, you should never get to a point like this. If that
Yeah.
makes sense, right?
Yeah. And even if you work through it together or you break up,
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
two options you have. All right. Now I've been thinking about it for 2 weeks and I'm adamant about my decision. I want a divorce. We're not fighting, but I asked him to move to the living room and I have refused intimacy and any type of physical connection. I spend more time out of the apartment, work, workout, and long walks.
Mm.
I spend a lot of time in the library. or the movies alone. And when I come home, I've already eaten dinner. I just take a shower and go to bed. I've spoken to my mother about everything I've written here. She thinks I'm making a big fuss about nothing. And my in laws have heard about me asking for a divorce from my husband, and they also think I'm making a big fuss. I haven't told anyone else yet because I'm not prepared to hear how immature and rushed my decision is. He has tried to talk about compromise, stop being her friend, a marriage counseling, and even find another job or move to another city. But my guts are telling me something is very, very off and that marriage shouldn't be this hard, especially this early. Yes, and that's the thing. Like,
They're
if you
9
have
months
this,
married. That's 9 months in. 4 years of
yeah,
relationship, 9 months of being married.
yeah. And you have this strong feeling that something is so off between those people, or there's something so off when with this person. You should trust it, and he
Yeah, I
clearly
think too.
has
Given
no
you
balls
reasons.
to tell her the truth.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
there is
yeah.
something, you know.
I mean, I'm a big believer as well that you should trust your gut. Like especially like she said she walked into the office and straight when she saw her, she had
Yeah,
this feeling about her. And
yeah.
then she found out the feeling was right because they were texting all the
Mm,
time. So it was the first time. Then it's the thing with like overstepping the boundaries with keep on texting even though you ask him to not do it. And I I would probably, in her position, I would still try the counseling, right?
mm,
Especially like her and him both say that they love each other so much. Like I read the post of him. So basically how
mm,
that all started, he made a post first, like a small one that was, my wife is leaving me because she thinks I'm unfaithful with a married
mm,
coworker. I'm not. She wrote a post here and it went viral. And then he says her, I love her and I've never loved anyone like her. I'm hers, mind, body, heart, and soul. Blah blah blah. So he seems to be really in love and like broken
mm,
about it. So I personally would give it the chance of counseling to
mm.
get to
But
the root of the problem. But also, sorry to interrupt you again,
mm,
I totally I wouldn't be on a train with it's just a fuss, like you should not get a divorce.
yeah,
Like I think once the trust in a relationship is broken and you have such a icky feeling about it
mm,
that for some people you just can't go back. Like you
yeah,
can't get rid of it anymore, at least not without putting in a lot of work, I think.
yeah. Also, with him saying all these things like moving to a different city, blah blah blah, I don't think it would ever work because he couldn't even stop texting with her. So in the first three
Yeah, yeah.
places where she asked him to, like, can you just stop? You know what I mean? I don't
Mm.
think anything would help but the counseling if both are willing to work on the
Yeah,
relationship.
for sure.
Otherwise I'd say go next.
Thanks. Next. Yeah,
It's
I
a
think so
goner,
too.
guys.
I think it's really hard because they seem to love each other that much.
Mm,
I do think that the counseling can work, but I think that the main issue is him being super easily manipulated. Like I don't
yeah,
really think it's necessary. I mean, it sounds stupid. It's not him. It's the coworker that makes him be that way. That's obviously not it. It's his choice of texting back and
yeah,
answering, right? But I think he's also just from the way it sounds, he's really really easily being manipulated into something or not really manipulated, but being easily drawn into, you know,
yeah.
answering
There
or
must be
whatever.
some attraction between, like, even his side, from his side. Like, he must be attracted to her as well.
I
Otherwise,
mean, obviously they hooked up before, so there's definitely
yeah.
some kind of so I personally would give it the counseling way
Mm-hmm.
first and to get to the root. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in my point of view, there's some critical information missing.
Mm,
You know, the way
yeah.
it sounds is like maybe it wasn't just one time hooking up, maybe they had
Yeah.
some kind of relationship before, maybe he was the affair of while her having her husband, and maybe you know, maybe he was single, you know,
Mm,
she would the coworker was already with the husband and they just had a thing, and then you know she would
yeah.
never commit to him, and then he met a new girl, fall in love with her, marries her, and now the coworker is in a position of like, oh no, I want my toy back, you know, kind of like this, like wanting to prove herself something. Like you never know. So for me, the way it feels is that there's some piece of the puzzle when it comes to his side missing, and he's being dishonest, or he is not telling the whole truth about everything, is how it feels for me. And I think that if he would tell the whole truth and be 100% honest, and she would be it would be easier for her to understand his position, that they could work it out, no matter if it's then moving, finding a new job, changing your number. Like in the end, the easiest way for him is just to block her or not respond to her, and story over. You know what I mean? Of course it's shitty when I work together, but I mean, if he's already offering to change his job, it at least shows how potentially he's invested in his marriage, and he wants to fix it. But again, I also totally get it. If you just feel like there's no more trust for that person left, that there's no point, right? Like I think without a baseline of trust in your relationship, there's no sense in it. Because if you are worried every time your partner picks up the phone and is texting, and if you're just thinking about like, oh, is he texting her again? You know what I mean? Like that is already fucking up like your daily mental, and then you get afraid of being like, oh, I don't want to ask him again, you know, or maybe you ask all the time and then he gets annoyed because you don't have the trust anymore. So I personally think of trust like it is an eraser, like for pencils, you know? Like whenever you start a relationship, you have an eraser, and every time something happens, it loses a little bit of its volume. And once it's gone, it's gone. You can't just pick up the pieces and make a new one out of it. That's the way that I see it personally.
That's a beautiful metaphor.
I don't remember where I heard it. I heard it once because like a lot of people say you need to work to be trusted, you know? Like you need to prove me that you're trustworthy. You know what I mean? But I read that somewhere that it should be the other way around. Like whenever you meet a person, you should trust them 100% because they should not have to prove you anything. Because it's easier to prove people wrong, right? Like they're gonna show you if they're not trustworthy, if it makes sense. So, and it's the same in relationships, in new relationships. Like if you don't trust your new partner just because your ex-boyfriend has been an asshole to you, you know, it's not gonna be a great start of your relationship. So the way that I approach it, no matter if it's in friendships, business, or obviously in business it's a little bit different, right? But in friendships and relationships, I always see it that way, like the eraser, where you have my full trust, and it's your decision of what are you gonna do with it. Like, you know, like it's all on you. I think
I'm building that up. It depends on the person and obviously the vibes. Like I'm a very strong feeler, if I can say that. Like she had the guts with her seeing her and feeling that something was off, and I have the same. Like I'm kind of the same with people, no matter like whoever I meet or is a potential, like becomes a potential friend in my life. um I'm cautious in the beginning. Like I do not change or put on a mask, but I'm very cautious what I share about myself in the beginning. And as soon as I know I can trust this person, um I'm opening up more, I think. But it depends. Like I don't understand. I don't know how to explain it, because I'm not really like introverted or anything. I'm extroverted, and I mostly or usually say what I think. But when it comes to these closer like friendships, I very very um how to say, I pick the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm very cautious about that.
I get that. I get that. But it's also good. Like I think it's just completely different approaches, and the way I get it, I imagine for you, it's like once you open up and they fuck up, they're out, right? Like
there's always a second chance, in my opinion. Like,
Okay.
I have a lot of patience, but once my patience is gone, then you're gone.
Mm.
And also, I'm observing a lot, guys. I observe your whole personality. I observe everything, and when I am sure that you're the person I think you are,
Mhm.
then I'm approaching. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm very, very observing
See,
with
I
these things.
see.
And there's always a second chance, in my opinion. So I'm not this, you do this, you're out of my
So
life.
how
I
would you handle
first
it if you would be her in that marriage? How would you handle
yeah,
it? What would
that's a
be
tough,
your
the
if
thing
you were in
is,
her shoes?
let's say if Max and I had this problem,
Mhm.
but our way, right? I know this person.
No,
Um
he wouldn't have told
no,
you
then
about that
that's
person.
yeah,
It
then
needs to be
yeah,
the same.
that's the hard thing. Like, as you said, I would try working through it.
Okay.
Um at this point where she is, I probably am done already,
Okay.
because he said so many things, he never kept his word.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if anything would help, like counseling would help. Because in the end, when shit got hot, he
Mm.
started to say, "Yeah, we can move, we can do this, we can do this, we can go to the counselor,
Yeah.
to marriage counseling."
He
So
realizes when it's too late, kind of, right?
yes, and this is also the point where it's too late for me then, and I probably cut off the rope by then. I would have, like, I think in my in if I was in her situation and all these things happened over and over again, I already cut the rope at this point, I think.
Yeah.
So there is no going back for me. As I said, when I cut it, I cut it. A lot of things happened. I have a lot. Was heißt dulden?
Accept or like tolerate.
I tolerate. Thank you. Tolerate a
Yeah.
lot. And I'm always like, I am a person who believes in second chances, no matter what it is, even if it's cheating. There's
Really? In
always
cheating as well?
yes, there's always a story, and there's a story of both sides.
Okay.
So I always want to understand why these things happen. I cannot tell you
Mhm.
how it would affect me, for example, if Max would cheat on me. Um, but if he shows that he feels bad about it and that he made a mistake. Obviously, this must have happened because something in our relationship went bad.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
there's so many reasons to everything. I want to understand first, and that's why I always believe in second choices.
Chances, yeah.
Um, chances, sorry, second chances, yeah.
Good.
Because we are all human and we all fuck up, and we all have desires or whatever it is. We
Mm.
can be dumb, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
And I will give every person the chance to prove me wrong.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's, I just want them to. I think everyone deserves a second chance. But obviously, it's not everyone's opinion, because a lot
Is
of
it
people.
is it for you um let's say like your boyfriend or whatever cheats on you, right?
Mm,
But how do you trust that person again? Like, would you not, let's say he cheats on you with a coworker or something like that.
yeah.
Would you not be worried every time he goes to work that there's something gonna happen again? Could you just like flip a switch and be like,
Probably in the beginning, but if he proves me and shows me that he truly um
has
truly feels
remorse? Yeah.
yeah, has remorse and feels bad about what he did, and tries to become a better person, I give this person trust again. And after the second time of giving them trust and they abusing my trust again, then I'm gone. So
Mm.
obviously in the beginning it would probably and or 100% be a weird feeling, but to be honest, I cannot change it anyways. If those
Mm.
two people want to fuck each other and are so like sexually attracted and maybe also emotionally, my relationship with him is over anyways. So, and
Mm.
I would have not been able to cut it earlier because there was a reason why those two met. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
there's a reason why us two are not working out anymore. So it's time
Mm.
to move on. Obviously, I'm not in the situation right now,
Yeah, of course.
And I have never felt that way. I've been cheated on with my previous boyfriends, but those were always like short relationships.
Mm.
So that was never a thing. But yeah, with Max, I obviously would love or would want to work through because we've been together for 7 years, right?
Yeah,
And
of
no
course.
matter, I know he has a complete different opinion.
Yeah,
Like he's
yeah.
the complete opposite, and I am saying I believe in second chances, probably also because my parents like got divorced and there was a similar situation, right?
Mm.
And I had a lot of I saw a lot of things or like experienced a lot of things, and that's why I probably deserve in second chances when it comes to these things, because to me this is not only black and white.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But
I
again,
agree with the whole things. Like, there's always a reason
mm,
why something like that happens. Like, in a sense of there needs to be somebody needs to be already like
yeah,
dissatisfied or unhappy in some type of way for it to mess this up. Like, you don't go out one day and just hook up with a random person because
yeah,
I don't know, they walk across you in the street. Like,
yeah,
as you say, like I would probably not be the same in the sense of like, oh yeah, you can cheat on me once and then I trust you again,
mm,
and then if you do it another time, then I'm like this.
yeah,
Like, I think for me, it's harder when it comes to that,
mm-hmm,
but I do relate and understand to what you say in a sense of like, if two people meet and they fall in love and they're so attracted to each other emotionally and sexually that you can't stop it. Like, I do relate to that. Like, it sounds
mm,
fucked up, obviously, to think about that with your own partner and a different
mm,
person, but on the other hand, you would I would not want to force somebody to stay with me
yeah,
that doesn't choose it by themselves, right?
yeah,
Like, that relationship is never gonna work if
yeah,
you try to force it to
yeah.
work, right?
I think so too.
Yeah,
And
it's actually really nice input.
in this situation, again, he did enough already for me to cut it. So I probably at this point, actions speak
Mm,
louder than words. He didn't take any actions, so you got a lot of chances. There's no reason for me to try anymore because I think those two have a stronger bond than we have, apparently. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
and
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 he's not
like
honest.
the other thing, because she said she's kind of afraid about telling people because they're gonna say she's immature, it's a
Yeah.
rushed decision. Like, in the end, you shouldn't care if anybody thinks your decision is rushed or I don't know, it's stupid because they were just texting. Like, in the end, you're gonna be the person that has to
Mm.
be in that relationship daily, and
Yeah.
it's not the in-laws, it's not your mom, it's not your coworker or anybody. I mean, the
Yeah.
one of your boyfriend maybe, but nobody else is gonna have to go what you go through on a daily. And if it
Yeah.
just gives you the ick and like a bad feeling about it, then get out of there and try
Yeah.
to find happiness somewhere else,
Yeah.
because it's just not worth holding on to something that you already know is not gonna fulfill you anymore,
Yeah.
like, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But yeah, I think I personally really enjoyed reading through this and talking
Mm-hmm.
about our different point of views. um Please let us know in the comments if you enjoyed this episode. We know it's something completely different, but maybe if there's some cool stories that you find, again, you can always submit them to us. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what you thought, if you enjoyed it or not. It was a little bit of a longer episode today again.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that, but I'm all here for it. So, we see you again next week. Thank you so much for your support as per usual. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and follow
Yes.
us everywhere else. If you enjoyed the podcast on Spotify or on Apple Music, don't forget to rate us. Give us the full stars, okay? Because we
Mm-hmm.
do as well. We wish you a beautiful rest of your day. We love you all, and we see you again next week.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Derps and Burps podcast.
If you enjoyed it, make sure to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram at derps'nburps. See you online.